Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Ben, and today I'm going to be making a video on how to really enhance your photo. Just say you just taken it, you get it back, and it's not really what you saw when you were looking with your own eyes. And this video is just kind of how to get it back to that state, or even better, a better image than what you saw with your own eyes. That's really what this video is about, is just enhancing your photograph using Adobe Photoshop. Now, the methods I'm going to be using today are definitely with Adobe Photoshop, but a lot of other editors will work too, like GIMP for Mac and PC. It's a great alternative to Photoshop, absolutely free. Yeah, so pretty nice. And so yeah, let's just dive straight in. But before I say that, these are just my this is just my workflow. This is how I do it. If you do it differently, leave it in the comments below. Maybe I can get some advice. Maybe you guys watching can get some advice. So yeah, I definitely check that out. Check out the comments, see what other people are saying. I had to take a water break there. But yeah, check out what people are saying. There's a lot of videos about this online, but I just want to put it in layman's terms, so you can just see my perspective. I just want to make it easy. So I'm going to try to use, basic vocabulary, I guess. I don't know. But I just put this photo in Adobe Photoshop, right? The only thing I really did to this image was I cropped it and I made sure that my horizon line was level. So I really didn't do anything to colors. This is straight out of my camera. So yeah, this actually was taken with my smartphone, so it's nothing too intense, but it's okay. Just had this photo, I was like, it's okay. So yeah, let's begin. So the first thing I do, just once I put it into Photoshop, is I really just look at the image and just look, where does your eye go when you see this image? And my eye goes to the lily pads here and the tree line, because the rest of the lake and the sky, they really aren't too impressive. So my eyes go to these lily pads right here, which look really beautiful, and the tree line. So just keep that in the back of your head when you're working on your image. Make sure that these areas look nice, but also you got to maintain the look of your other areas. You don't want to get these too washed out or whatever. So yeah. So let's begin editing. The first thing I do is I adjust the exposure, because let's be honest, nobody takes a photo with a perfect exposure. Even auto exposure systems are pretty they can work some of the time, but I mean, you really do have to adjust it afterwards. So that's what we're going to do now. I feel like this photo is a little bit dark for what I want, so I'm just going to increase that a little bit. Maybe oh shoot, whoops, accidentally deleted that. Sorry guys. Maybe 0.25. That looks pretty okay. Maybe lost some detail, but it's not a big deal, because it's just exposure. The next thing I usually do after I get my exposure all set, I just do it first, because you don't want to have to do it at the end and then adjust all your other things. I go into the curves adjustment right here. Now, I'm just going to make a disclaimer first. A lot of people avoid the curves section just because it's a little intimidating. And I'm going to be honest, it is. You can really mess up your image by doing this. But, I mean, yeah. Once you get to know it, like, it makes photo editing so much easier. Like, when I learned it a few years ago, color correcting video, it just makes your photo editing a lot easier. And I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to touch on the basics today. We're really not going to touch the curves too much. We're just going to use some of the tools in this menu. But if you guys would like me to do a more in-depth video, I totally can. Let's just leave that in the comments. But I like to make sure, after I get my exposure, that my blacks are black and my whites are white. Now, I was inspecting this photo earlier, and it looks to seem that my blacks are my blacks and the whites are my whites. They're pretty accurate, but if they are not, you can definitely use this tool at the bottom here. Whoops, my pop filter just fell off. But you can use this tool at the bottom, right? And when you move this, I would hold Option on Mac and Alt on PC, and you can see that when I move it to the right, this black little tab here, you get more color, and that is what is being distorted. So you can see here, my cyan channels are being distorted. So I actually leave it down here where there's no color. That's when you know your image is good. And let me do it for the white here. Now there already is a lot of color here, just from doing the exposure. So as you can see here, if I delete the exposure, we're all good. But yeah, so straight out of the camera, it's fine. But since we had that exposure, it makes it a little bit distorted. But that's all good because this is the sky, really, and frankly, there's not a lot of detail here, anyways. So that once that's all set, and it's not all images are going to be as perfect as mine, not to brag or anything, but you will have to adjust these a little bit, but my image just happened to come out pretty good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to press this little thing right here. It's a little hand, and then there's a slider bar. And that pulls up this little eyedropper thing, right? And what this basically does is you can press on like a highlight or a shadow. I'm just going to be doing it with a shadow right here. This is a pretty dark part of my image. And once you move your mouse up after you've clicked, it adjusts on the curve bar where that is. So as you can see, I kind of want to make my shadows a little bit darker. And yeah, let's grab a highlight here. This is a pretty good highlight. Let's just make that a little bit brighter. I would kind of want to make that a little bit brighter, not too much, I mean. And then with our midtones, let's find a midtone here. These are kind of dark. Midtone definitely on the lake here. I want to make those a little bit darker. So as you can see, it's a pretty useful tool without actually touching this and just messing with your image. Of course, you can go crazy on the red, green, and blue individual channels, but I think for beginners, sticking with the RGB settings on curves is great. It doesn't really scare them away. But yeah, so as you can see, our curves have made a tremendous difference in our image. They've made our shadows a little bit darker, our highlights a little bit brighter, just increased so the contrast in our image, which is great. But we still really haven't enhanced the lily pads or the tree line like we've talked about, and that's where color balance really comes in. So let me go to the color balance tab right here. You can find it under here, color balance. Pretty standard. And this image has a lot of blues already. Cyan, blue right here, a lot of blues. And I just feel like it needs a little bit more red. So we can just adjust these accordingly to what we feel the image needs. Now, by default, well, sorry about that. By default, it's on midtones, but of course you can change that based on what you want to change. I like to do midtones first, just get a base reading, if you will. So I want to increase the reds a little bit because this was kind of hot this day when I took this picture, and I want that to kind of come across. Of course, maybe 15. Makes it a little red, but we can fix it by opposing that with some of the yellows and magentas over here. But yeah, so as you can see, if I increase the green, it really sort of brings out these areas, which we kind of want, which is great. So let's increase the green, and then I kind of want to increase the blue a little bit. I know it's crazy because if I brought this yellow down a little bit, it kind of takes away. I'm going to leave that at +3 for the blue so we can bring out the sky and stuff. But let's go into highlights, or we can do shadows right now. We can make those. I liked my shadows a little bit bluer, generally. And my greens. Let's make those a little bit more magenta. Maybe green a little bit. Then we got their blues, which this is kind of the lake and also the sky here. So let's bring that up by 5. So that's pretty nice. Let's go to our highlights. Definitely want to point out the green right there. Bring back some green tones. So let's see what we've changed with our image. Not too much, but it's definitely have made a difference on our image. And I really like this, how it turned out. So usually after that, I go to the Vibrance tab, and this is where you can really either make or break your image if you go too crazy or stuff like that. But if you just add the right amount of vibrance and saturation, it should just make your image really beautiful. Of course, you can go all the way down with the vibrance if you want a black and white image, but I prefer color for landscapes generally, most of the time, just because it's very realistic. Plus 18 for the vibrance is nice, because I think if you go too crazy, it's just absolutely mental. So plus 18 is pretty nice for this photograph at least, and I usually just don't really mess with the saturation too much, because instead of just making everything pop, it really just ends up distorting things that I really want to keep intact, you know. Just like if I increase this right here, it's kind of messing with the stuff that I really like these shadows and stuff. So I generally keep that down, but yeah. So as you can see, when I increase the vibrance, it kind of keeps things a little bit mellow, but yet keeps them dramatic, which I like, because life's all about balance, you know. Got to keep balance. Oh, sorry about this water drinking, guys. I've been talking a lot. Generally, after that, if I really need to, I can do brightness and contrast. If you really aren't confident with your curves techniques, then you can do brightness and contrast, but I really don't. I think right here the image looks pretty nice. Let me just group these so we can see the change in the image right here. Oh my gosh. Let's do that. Let's group these. So you can see what we really did. We just made the image a whole lot cleaner, a whole lot nicer, really. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys want more, put it in the comments. I'll respond to your comments, leave some questions, whatever. But that's just my 2 cents, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.